Hey there, fellas. So I'm gonna go into a little bit of a rant, little bit of an observation. So in 2005, I was 14 years old when this film came out, and it's called Waiting. And I recently rewatched the entire film, and it is so much better than I mean, it was a fantastic film. It was fantastic, but it was even better today, watching it today, and it honestly gave me a twinge. I honestly felt almost a little bad watching this film in the sense that it's so much better with age, but I'm watching rampant homophobia, and Lord knows if there was trans stuff in this film, it would be transphobic all over the place. And it's just watching this film that has, you know, some racism, rampant, a dick showing game that is rampant homophobia. It was so delightful to watch because I'm watching I'm watching a different time in cinema. I'm watching a different time in the world where people were free. They were free to make homophobic jokes. They were free to make trans jokes. They were free to make racist jokes. They were free to have comedy. This Waiting, the film Waiting, I'm rewatching it, and it's a comedy of a different age when people were free, when cinema was edgy, right? And I'm watching this film and I'm like, "Oh my goodness, there are jokes that just you would be thrown, you would be tarred and feathered and thrown out of Hollywood if you made Waiting today. The shitstorm you would get on Twitter, you would be blacklisted, you would be sued, you would be all sorts of things before you could say, whoopsie daisy, right? And it honestly gave me a twinge of of I was watching this film and I was like, oh my goodness, human beings, our culture was more free back then than it is today. It's bizarre to watch, and it's like, oh my gosh, we've marched closer to fascism. We've marched closer to censorship in the years since this film has been made. So the point is that I'm watching the director and producer commentary. So the director is this guy named Rob McKittrick. So that's the guy who directed this film. Then the producer is this guy named Jeff Bayless. Now I'm going to show you a clip, a part of the director and producer commentary where they're talking, where it's like, so this commentary, you have to understand, this commentary was made in like 2005 or even 2004. So this is nearly 18 years ago, right? And and this guy Rob is going to be talking about how watering down comedies was already happening in Hollywood, even all the way back then, right? And this guy Rob, he was like, no, I do not want my rated R comedy watered down. I want nasty jokes. I want edgy jokes in my comedy, and I'm going to stand, and there's going to be a line in the stand. I don't want this comedy to become PG-13, and we're not going to do alternate takes. So I'm gonna play this, and it's just amazing to hear that even back then you had guys like Rob McKittrick, you had directors back then in 2003, 2004, having to deal with what would become censorship and wokeism, modern day censorship and wokeism in Hollywood today. They had to deal with it 18 years ago. And it's really amazing to hear. So I'm going to play this clip for you guys.
Fuck you, Monty. Always got.
Okay. Anyway, so I had the whole scene written. I had this great. He's making fun of Naomi. He's making fun of Kevin. All these great lines. And for me, just the topper was, Monty, you're the coolest guy. That's like being the smartest kid with Down syndrome. And it just seemed like just a really an offensive line, but really funny. And John did not want to say the line. John was just like, he was so against it, and he was like, man, like, somebody in my family has Down syndrome.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Like, extended family.
That's very nice of you to push.
And so, well, no, absolutely.
That's wrong, but you got to push through for the laughs, you know?
Right. Well, he was like, dude, like he was just. I could tell that like the inner core of his being, like it hurt him, and I was like, bro, listen. I mean, I want you. Like, I get it. Like, I'm right there with you. I understand the pain. I mean, I get it completely. You're gonna say the fucking line. It's going to bring down the fucking house. Okay. It is like right there towards the end of the movie.
The house, as in his own household.
It may destroy his home. Yes. No. It's like you've got it.
But it will be funny.
It will be really funny.
I propose doing a take without it. That we get in there, the audience is just totally offended and taken out of it. You know what? You have the ability to not use it.
Right, but here's the problem. Yeah, if we had a huge budget and we could afford to do 1 million fucking test screenings.
Listen, don't give the slippery slope argument. You take one take without it. You could do one take without it. You could do that segment without it.
No, here's the problem though, because of you do that, and all of a sudden that allows it to happen. Right? Fuck that. Okay.
This is the end of the shoot.
No way. You do that, and then all of a sudden, because there's such, I mean, you know better than anybody with I mean, there've been rated R comedies this last year have been pretty strong, but there's just been this great movement towards let's water it down, let's make it more PG-13, let's not go too offensive, let's not go too crazy for fear.
You know,
of doing
you're right.
that.
Had we taken that line out, it would have been PG-13.
That's not what I'm saying, but it's the same exact.
Yeah, that really
fucking-
would have.
yeah.
It would have really. The
You
teeth
know
would have
what
come
I'm
out.
talking
I mean,
about. It's like all
we
of
were
a sudden,
one
you
Down
start
syndrome over the
You
limit.
start watering
That's
it
what
down
it
now.
was.
You start watering it down
Yeah,
now, and
it's
all of a sudden it
literally-
becomes a
And
PG-13
pretty
shadow of its
soon-
former self.
Pretty soon, the ball shot gets cut in half. and-
Exactly.
And there's only one piece of cheese in the vagina.
And no, there's no vagina at all. Okay.
Okay.
There's no vagina at all. That's how it works.
There was no pressure while we were editing the movie. It was only while we were shooting it. Can we please?
Well, because
in
of course,
case-
because at that
in
point
case it
you were
doesn't
dead
work-
because you were locked. You couldn't write exactly. And here's the thing: if we had shot that alternate take, okay, if I had bullshit, if I had shot that alternate take, where
we never would have. No one ever would have pressured you to use it.
Horseshit.
No.
That is such bullshit. Okay, you have no idea. You would have. I mean, maybe not you. Somebody would have said. And here's how it would have gone down. Let's just see what it looks like without it. Let's just see. Okay, we'll just do an alternate take. All right, we'll just do an alternate version of the scene without it. Right, and then all of a sudden that becomes a reality. Fuck that.
There's
Don't
a way
even-
to do that without that. You just cut it out.
Right.
Now listen, you're a poster child for the DGA.
Thank you. Absolutely, I held firm, and I stand by it.
We get it, man. You're
So yeah, I mean that's exactly what he's talking about. He's talking about censorship in Hollywood. He said he's like, no, we're not going to do the alternate take because sooner or later the alternate take will be the final cut. I want my retard joke in my movie, and I'm not going to budge on it, right? And it's this movie was made in like 2003, right, and released in 2005. And they had to deal with this censorship. And yeah, of course there has always been censorship in Hollywood. I'm not doubting that. But what I'm saying is, like, this is what pre-wokeism is. Like, Rob, the guy who was saying, no, I don't want my movie cut down. He was the guy who, saw, he obviously didn't see wokeism coming, but he was like, no, I don't want, this is censorship. This is early forms of censorship, right? And he was absolutely right. He was absolutely right. He stuck to his guns. And, of course, the producer, Mr. Moneybags, was like, maybe it's okay, maybe it's not, maybe we can cut the retard joke out. But Rob stuck to his guns. The artist stuck to his guns. And the point of the matter is that we're dealing with so much, here's a question for you guys. Here, put it down in the comments. I'd be amazed. But have there been any rated R comedies in 2022? Rated R comedies in 2022. I've never heard of these things. I don't know what this is. Violent Nights, Everything Everywhere All at Once, I Want You Back. Are those even comedies? Right? So it's like Rob was right. This guy, Rob McKittrick, was right. He's like, he was like, look, I have this art, I have this piece of media, and I want to keep it rated R. I want a rated R comedy. Right? And now look where we are now. Like, there are no rated R comedies, right? There are no funny movies anymore. Comedy is dead in Hollywood. It's gone. It's long gone. So it's just, I don't know if movies like Waiting are ever going to come back. I hope they do. I really do. But if a studio made a movie like Waiting or American Pie in modern day society and they released it, it would be a catastrophe. It would be you would be setting your studio, on fire. You could probably honestly get sued, And so the point is it's bizarre to watch a movie where people were more free to express their opinions back then than they are today. And it's just like it's just really bizarre to watch a commentary that's almost 20 years old, and those people back then, having to deal with with the early forms of censorship, right? That is so modern and strong today. And so I just wanted to express that to you guys. I wanted to show you what I was talking about. And yeah, if you haven't watched Waiting, it's an amazing film. But honestly, it might make you a little bit sad to rewatch it because people were way freer back then. They were way freer, right? And Hollywood was willing to take risks and make edgy jokes, and they just aren't willing to do that anymore. And a movie like Waiting may never be made again, ever, at least by modern day Hollywood.